Well, robotics are pretty much everywhere, and one of the places they are is certainly going to be in Providence Mission Hospital, and they're using them for spinal surgery. I want to welcome Dr. Anthony Kim to the program. Robotics and spinal surgery is not brand new, but there are constant innovations going on in that world, right?
Yes, well, thank you for having me here. The first generation of robotics for spine came out about 3-4 years ago, and I'm happy to say that we were one of the first people to have it.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually right now the alpha center for a lot of the spine robotics programs. We train the reps to go to other places like LA, to San Diego. We streamline the room setup, because robotics just means not just putting in instrumentation or using the robot to get to the right place, but it also means having the right room set up, teaching the staff and how to do that. Mm-hmm. So the first generation was pretty much how you plan the surgery with the robotics, how you put the screws in correctly, how you do the right instrumentation, how you get there. The new generation, which is an alpha launch only, and it's a bit of a hush-hush actually, is robot-guided decompression. So just like Adobe Photoshop, you go to the program, you say, I want this part of the bone to be removed. And the robot goes there and drills that off. Under surgeon supervision.
Right.
Because you can see if it goes wrong, the robot could go the wrong place. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And another thing that happened this year is, for the first time with our industry partners, we now have artificial intelligence with the robotics.
Okay. So when we're talking about robotics, we're always talking about under supervision of a surgeon. People shouldn't expect to go into a surgery room and there's a bunch of robots rolling up to the table, obviously. But how much work goes into getting everything ready in terms of the planning and how we're going to map out the spine, if we're looking at the spine, and exactly which area we're going to be going into, and like you said, carving out a piece or something like that?
I want to say I just walk up and just push a button, but it's very different. I want to say that spine surgery, open surgery before robotics, even with navigation and computer guidance, is like building a house. It's very stocky. You build your walls and you're looking at it, so you're only as human as you are. So you put your screws in, or you drill your bones, and you make a nice little house, nice little rectangle. With robotics, you know where everything is going to go. And so what you're actually building is it's a sculpture. It's an Eiffel Tower. I even call it the Eiffel Tower because instead of building like a structure like this, now it's sculpted to the patient's body. So it's really night and day. It's really like looking at a skyscraper versus just a stocky little house.
And with robotics, there's more precision, I imagine. It's something that basically the surgeon really couldn't do, the really tiny, fine precision that is almost impossible, right? The robot can kind of do that, right?
On behalf of all the spine surgeons out there, I know there's many of you who are much better than the robot. And I'm sure there are days I am too. But there are days when surgeons are off their game and surgeons are a little tired. So it's nice to have a little assurance. And you're absolutely right. With the robotics and with the navigation, we're missing less than 0.1% of the time. And 20 years ago, the statistic was that neurosurgeons were either doing the wrong level or we were missing screws or missing levels 16% of the time.
Okay, wow.
Huge change, 16% of the time to 0.1% within a 20-year period.
And is it also, is it a little less invasive? I mean, since there's such precision, we're not maybe having to open up as much or be in there as long and those kinds of things. So is there a better recovery time after robotic surgeries?
You are so right. Because we're going right to the location, we're not even cutting the muscles anymore. We're not opening the muscles. I haven't done a front-back surgery in 3 years. Everything is from the back.
Okay, wow.
No side surgery, no front surgery. Everything's small from the back. Muscle sparing, safer, better windows, less muscle dissection, faster recovery, faster return home.
So what are some of the benefits, let's kind of overall, if you go into Providence Mission Hospital and you're going to go into the robotic spine program and go in there, what are some of the benefits from the traditional spinal surgeries as to the robotic surgeries that are going on?
Well, I think the 4 things about the robotic surgery is, as you said, it's safer, it's more accurate. And one of the reasons is because we actually have a 3D navigation system. The robot takes you there. You don't do any muscle dissection as much. So faster recovery, faster home. On top of that, the Taut Mission Hospital has currently got a Providence-driven program where we do preoperative medication, perioperative medication. So we pre-medicate our patients with Lyrica, Celebrex medications so they have less pain. We shield them from the pain. Then we also give them Ovantic so that they poop better, even on narcotics afterwards. How many times after surgery you're like, oh, I can't poop.
Everybody's backed up, and that's a real problem. That's a genuine problem.
All that. So we try to predict post-op recovery problems, and we give medications preoperatively. And now we're adding AI, artificial intelligence, for the perioperative management to streamline our process. So I think, to answer your question, robotic surgery decreases your time, makes it safer. And on top of that, AI-guided and this sort of streamlined procedure also improves recovery. So there's double benefits right now at Mission.
And for the patient, are they up on their feet sooner? I mean, I'm assuming less pain, up on their feet sooner. The rehab process is easier going because it was less invasive and there's more precision there? Yes.
So this is not my program. This is actually, I think, University of Miami and New York, but it's called the Post-Op Day Zero Ambulation Program. We get the patients out of bed that night.
Oh, wow.
So the latest is 4 a.m. They have to be out of bed. If it's a scoliosis deformity or a cancer case, they're still out of bed at 4 a.m. So absolutely, we get them out of bed. We get them moving right away. Without a brace, actually. We're trying to eliminate bracing completely from spine surgery. Our patients, especially the cervical arthroplasty patients, they're back to pickleball, golf, surfing by 3 weeks off the multi-level replacements.
Incredible, incredible. Have the robotics kind of opened up a world of areas where, like, hey, we don't do these kind of surgeries, or these are more tougher, these are more complicated? Has it opened up a new world of ability to go do surgeries that weren't available before, or really were more, only in emergent care kind of thing, or is it opened up a new world at all?
That's actually a tough question. I think, on behalf of all the spine surgeons in Orange County, because there's quite a few, there's a lot of talent out there, and the spine surgeons, even before the robot, have been doing very complex, challenging tasks, sometimes at 2 and 3 in the morning, for trauma. So I think I'd be doing the spine community a disservice by saying that robotics has taken over, has improved our surgeries, but certainly I think it has eased our burden. Because sometimes, during revisions, it's harder to find the spine anatomy because someone's been there before, or the patient has had trauma, so it's hard to locate the anatomy. So we're getting help. So yes and no to that question.
A little bit. So what do you think? I mean, put your crystal ball on the table for a second, and predict where do you think it's going? Where do you think the next steps are? What are people saying? Well, what if we could do this? What if we could do that?
So I've seen the next steps.
Okay.
I have an NDA. So we work with industry partners quite a bit. But I can tell you one of our industry partners also owns the Hugo, which is the intraoperative robot with the camera that does general surgery. The same company also owns some of the robotics technology. And I've seen technologies where they're trying to integrate with AI so that the surgeon no longer has to be even in the room.
Oh, wow. It's like drone surgery.
It's pretty sophisticated. It would be like Adobe Photoshop. You sit there, you can cut and paste, and you can paint. And as you're doing that, the robot will do the same thing on the patient in real time with high accuracy. Intraoperative, real-time imaging, robotics, and real-time camera and 3D monitoring.
Wow, okay. And what are the advantages to that? I mean, it seems amazing. It seems like, wow, what an amazing thing. But why not be in the room, or how does that change the scope of how surgeries are done?
Well, we live in the most, let's face it, affluent, influential neighborhood in the United States, one of them anyway.
Absolutely.
And so we have the benefit of having the highest level of technology. But that technology does not always exist in all the countries in the world and other places. Like, for example, Liberia is a country in Africa. It only has one neurosurgeon. They don't do spine. They send out their cases all the time to other countries. What if we could do remote surgery? Or we could have someone sit there and do guided surgery together.
Oh.
So this is not just about us. The idea of doing robotic surgery is really about sending this technology out to everyone in the world, right? Because it's not just about the United States. We're talking about helping every country advance in spine.
Wow, can you imagine like a one spine surgery here in Orange County, but performing surgeries all over the world for places that don't have the access to the health that we do?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's an incredible. It's kind of mind blowing to think that that
Yes.
could be part of the future of that.
Oh, I think it will be actually.
What's it like for you to work in a cutting edge world, in the world of robotics, and be at Providence and do the things you're doing?
Oh, I'm excited. I actually think the highest advances in spine surgery has happened just in the last 10 years with the navigation and honestly, more so than the last 100 years. I remember doing wires when I was in training, wires and hooks. Now I'm doing robotics. So I'm just very privileged to be in this time right now. This is the growth time for spine surgery. And I'm just very fortunate to have a partnership with Mission Hospital, with you guys, and to be able to showcase this, so extremely grateful.
And when your patients come in the door, what do you tell them about the robotic surgeries? How do you reassure them that, hey, I'm still in the room? Because I think some people like a robot versus the surgeon. Is there still that kind of concern sometimes, like, well, are you going to be in the room, or how's this going to work?
I show them the data.
Okay.
This is not your father or mother's spine surgery. One of the things that's always makes me upset is how many complications and how many issues there were in the past for spine surgery. I mean, everyone knows there's a patient or a family member who's had spine surgery failed. And I don't want that to be the reputation of spine surgery, because it's not. So I want to improve that and progress that. And basically, my whole mission is to make it so advanced that, and to reassure the patients, look, there's robotics, but it's to make me more accurate.
Right.
So
Your
that we don't
knowledge.
have that complication that you've heard about 10, 20 years ago.
Right. Incredible stuff going on there at Providence Mission Hospital. Dr. Anthony Kim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
When we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from the Fit Brain Club. Stay with us.